Alrighty, so what I've done is I deleted all the photos off my phone, and it gave me like an extra 7 minutes. So for the time being, I got almost 23 minutes of recording here. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll see. I'm using my camera, and I'm just recently using it again. It looks like I've had it since 2005. That's the first year of the date, so 17 years old. But what it's doing is it's creating very small files for me that I can upload quite quickly, because my first two videos, they took like 6 hours to upload. And let me just get rid of this screensaver for the time being, because while I'm talking to you, I don't want it to do that. So this thing is a little bit complicated here. It's not so easy to just turn it off for some reason. Half an hour, hopefully. Yeah, that'll work. I'm talking to you guys, so we can't go more than that, obviously. I like to turn it on pretty quickly always. So this is a laptop that I bought since I've been homeless, and I paid $180 for it, and I'm using Windows 10. So as far as I'm concerned, it was a super deal. I did my research, and it looks like everything's working. So the next option is maybe to do it with the laptop camera, but I don't think that's going to be best. So I got to figure it out, but the problem is I need money. As I mentioned in one of the previous videos, I'm currently homeless. So I am a Canadian citizen. I was born at Etobicoke General Hospital on Humber College Boulevard on December 26, 1970. That's my date of birth, and this is who I am. So my name is Anthony Marino, and starting up a podcast is something that I wanted to do. So here we go. But it looks like my last two videos no one has watched. I just posted them yesterday. I don't know if you can see down in the bottom corner. Today is April 22nd, 2022. It's now 9:18 a.m. and I'll certainly do at least 20 minutes for you. That shouldn't be a problem. So I'm trying to tell my story. I'm trying to enlighten you, and I think it's of interest, because what it is for the last 10 years I've been representing myself in court. And my record is perfect. I have never once succeeded. I succeeded only 2 times in getting extensions to file notice of appeals. And by doing so, I was also entitled to costs on those days, but because of the Superior Court justices here in Ontario, Canada, they did not award me costs. So my brother had a lawyer, and I didn't have a lawyer. So this lawyer that my brother had, his name is Elliot Goldstein, and he is also a small claims court judge. So what happened, he wrote a will apparently 3 days before my father died, essentially giving everything to my brother. So I spoke to my cousin, and he goes, you got to contest that. And then on my mother's side, a second cousin said the same thing. So I filed a notice of objection to my father's will on January 30th, 2014. He passed on December 2nd of 2013, and by January 30th of 2014, I was already serving a notice of objection in regards to a will that was made 3 days before my father died by Mr. Elliot Goldstein. He was also a small claims court judge, who then said that they were going to focus on my mother's estate. My mother passed, and then my father passed 7 months and a week later. So 2 weeks after my father's death, I hear from Mr. Goldstein. He's sending me an email, and he's saying that he represents my brother, and that they want to know what's going on with my mom's house. So I'm not going to cooperate with these people, obviously, despite him trying in a ridiculous way, because he's a fucking Jew, a stinky fucking Jew. Okay, so what happened, in all nationalities, I consider myself Italian. I'm Italian, Ukrainian, and German. My father was pure Italian, and that's what I know about. I never looked into it any more than this. But my point is, if you were to ask me, I would say I'm Italian. I say I'm Italian because I'm very proud of the way my father raised me. So I say I'm Italian, but I'm born in Canada. So technically, my country of origin, where I was born, is Canada. So I'm a Canadian. So I was asked this in jail. It was a very strange question, but how I answered was, I said, I'm Italian, Ukrainian, and German. Then I thought about it, and the next day I said to some inmates, I said that that was not the right answer. I'm supposed to say that I'm Canadian. So what happens is, as a Canadian citizen, Mr. Goldstein proceeded to kick me out of my mom's house, and they sold my mom's house at a ridiculous price. In 1997, she paid $207,000, and she put at least $25,000 worth of upgrades to the property. And then my brother kicked me out and sold it in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, for $250,000. And it was 5.5 acres in Flesherton, Ontario. There was 2 houses on the property, and that's what I mentioned. She put the upgrade. She put a kitchen in the one house, and there's also a pond. So this property is on Highway 10, and it's located right across from the Flesherton Auto Recyclers. And we were running a bed and breakfast there for many years. So a lot of people listening to this, for whatever the reason, they might start to recognize who I am. So for the time being, I put my photo. That photo that you see with my crazy hair and my long beard is probably an 11-month beard, and probably like a 13-month without a haircut. Okay, so without a shave, 11 months to grow that beard. So why I have that look is that's how I looked when I was released from jail on January 6, 2022. That's the way I was presenting myself. And why I was saying this was because I picked up while I was in jail that people are saying still that I'm crazy. So the government has been saying I'm crazy for the last 10 years. I don't feel I have any type of mental health issues. However, psychiatrists seem to be writing things, and I never once cooperated with them. I never once spoke to any psychiatrist, and that includes everywhere except for one, in the Toronto East Detention Center. And this guy apparently wrote I was bipolar and manic. So a psychiatrist that I spoke to told me I cannot be bipolar and manic, because if I'm bipolar and manic, I must be on medication. So obviously I don't see the point of diagnosing someone as bipolar and manic and then not forcing them to take the medication. So what happened? They locked me up. I got arrested on March 12, 2012 for uttering a threat. And because of this, OPP constable up in the Chatsworth division of the Ontario Provincial Police, I won't mention his name, even though I mentioned Mr. Goldstein. This officer, for the time being, I will not mention his name. So what happened? I got locked up. I got locked up in the psychiatric ward. And while I was in the psychiatric ward, my brother thought that it would be best if he controls everything, and I thought it would be a very easy way for him to take charge. So he asked a doctor to write a note saying that I was mental. And the doctor sat me down one day and asked me why would he be saying that. And I said, because there's a very big story that you know nothing about. And why I was locked up, I got taken there from 23 Division, which is now at Finch and Kipling, where I used to live. It used to be beside McDonald's, further south on Kipling, 23 Division. So I purposely came back to Toronto from my Flesherton residence where I was living at the time, and I went to maybe 7-8 days after my arrest, and they separated me from my mom. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, so I went to 23 Division because I spoke to Murr, and Murr says go there. I didn't want to go, and then I weakened and I went, because you never go to the police. Obviously the police are not going to help you. They're fucking bastards. But anyways, I went to the police, and then they called the psychiatric ward, and then they took me off to Humber River Hospital. I think it might have been on Church Street. If it was a Humber River, a very small hospital, Weston Road and 401 basically. But we used to always go to Etobicoke General. We didn't go to that hospital. But anyways, that's where I was taken. And from that hospital, I got transported to the Humber River Hospital on Keel Street, which is no longer there. They're now building some condos, and that is now a new hospital up where the OPP used to be on 401 in Keel. The OPP used to be over there. I'm not sure if they took over. The OPP might still be there, because I think the hospital is on the north side and the OPP was on the south side. But I've been away from Toronto since 2007. In 2007 I moved in with my mom to take care of her, How about? And then she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and I was arrested and she was taken from me. So that's a little bit of my background. But Mr. Goldstein had me arrested for 264-3, and since I've been out of jail here, January 6, 2022, I have informed the Law Society. For Mr. Goldstein, I complained quite some time ago. So I'm not sure where I was going with this in regards to Mr. Goldstein, but what I was mentioning was the judge, Justice Rahman, Rahman, okay, heard my matter at the Newmarket Courthouse. So Mr. Goldstein is a small claims court judge, and he hears matters at Newmarket. So I had said, I need to get this out of here, and they would not allow me to transfer it to a different court, but they said they'd bring in a judge. And I said, well, you got to get rid of this crown, because he might know Mr. Goldstein. Anyways, they forced me to go ahead, and I'm not happy about that. Similar to my video 3, this is going to be video 6, so I'll put a link again to 3, and you'll see the way these judges behave. So by doing that, there might be some ramifications, let's say, but you should check out video 3, because what that is something you should be listening to. So Mr. Goldstein writes a will of my father 3 days before my father died, and what I would say is, what type of brother is talking to lawyers 3 days before his father dies? I have no idea. So the will says that my brother gets my father's house, another house that my father owns, and then all of his monies. And then if anything happens to him, all of this goes to my father's niece, my cousin, and I get the contents of his house and his car. So I told this to my mother's second cousin, and he goes, yeah, so you get old furniture and his car, is what he said to me. So he doesn't know that my father had quite an extensive trumpet collection, and there was quite a bit of value there too. So my brother went into my father's safety deposit box without me, and I have no idea what was in there. So why does he do this? Well, it's pretty obvious to me. Because what happens when they write a will a few days before, they say destroy the old will, have your father destroy the old will. But obviously my father died. They didn't know, because my brother was telling bullshit, in my opinion. And he was saying to the family, they know what's wrong now, he's going to be okay. But it turns out he was already dying at that point. So, because of what was done in the surgery. So my father had a heart attack. I didn't go and see him because I didn't want to see my brother. I let my father down. When he died, I did not handle things properly. I had been through it with my mom. I didn't handle that properly either. So I saw my mother die. And my father, we'll talk more about it later. When I start things up properly the way I'm supposed to, I'll start telling my story. That's what I want to do, because I want to educate you all as to how these people behave in law. These are criminals. So what I say about courts of law, they are not courts of law. These are playhouses. They're just putting on a show. There's nothing lawful going on in these places. Okay, it's very bad. Here in Canada, it's very bad, in my opinion. And I will strongly debate this with anyone. The judges here in Ontario, they're corrupt, 100%, 100% corrupt. And what happens is they change audio, and what happens, they try to use your words against you. So it's very simple. When you watch a movie and they say don't speak to the police, that's exactly what you do. Because what happens, the police will charge you, and then they'll fabricate the evidence that they need to try to proceed. But the thing is, they don't even need to do this, because the judge is going to give the Crown whatever they ask for. So you cannot represent yourself in court. The government says you have every right to do so. You cannot. I'm telling you, don't even waste your time. And myself personally, over the years, 10 years, I've been dealing with this now. December of 2013 is when I took over. No, 2012. Since December of 2012, so almost 9.5 years, I've been representing myself in court. However, the last couple of times that the judges have tried to get me to go ahead, I have said I am not going ahead as a self-represented litigant. I now need to have a lawyer, and you can hear me saying this very clearly in video 3. So in regards to video 3, the judge on this day says that today is a pre-trial, and that's not the way we had left it the last time. And I recorded that, but the problem is I had a problem with my recorder, and it only recorded the first minute and a half. So I deleted it. I didn't need it. It's because it didn't help me. So what happened on that day? The judge says, "Do you have your disclosure?" I said, "No." I said, "I had it." I said, "It was sent to me." I said, "I no longer have it." So I don't have my disclosure. That's a big deal. So the next thing is, he says, "Well, can you come back on April 19th?" And this was April 1st. So I went one other time. I think I went March 4th, since I was out of jail. So when I got out of jail, I waited a couple of weeks. I was working on things, and then when it was time, I went to go turn myself in again. Same like I did on May 18th. When I first got out of jail back in May of 21. I was out of jail for 3 days. So I got incarcerated apparently on July 22nd of 2020, and I stayed in jail till January 6th of 2022, and I was out for only 3 days. Apparently May 17th, and I was back in jail on apprehended again very early morning. So I was apprehended May 18th and taken to Oshawa, and I was apprehended May 20th. I was taken to the police station, and then eventually they brought me back to Toronto East Detention Center. Okay, so then the story changed at the jail. I don't know what they're saying about me. I'll have to get those records. Excuse me. I have to get those records because I'm going to get those from Freedom of Information. But the people here at the hotel are out of this world, and they're helping me to get my health records right now. We'll see what they're going to send me from Toronto East. So what happened is I have a problem with the paramedics, and the police completely lie. I have a big cut on my neck and a big cut on my head because the police officer almost killed me. And I was taken to the hospital, and then I was taken to, I want to say, 41 Station of Police, and Mark Saunders was there, the retired police chief. He retired on July 31st of 2020, and I saw him on July 22nd apparently. He was there at the police station, and then I also saw him at the jail. So what happened? While he was at the police station, he says to me he just wanted to see what all the fuss was about. That was his comment that he said out loud while he was sitting at a desk quite a ways from me, but that was the point, that he wanted me to hear him say that. It was the only thing he said. He just wanted to see what all the fuss was about. Okay? And then he came to see me in the jail, and he was all decked out. He was wearing a suit with all those awards that they get. You know, they get those pins. So I imagine he was going to his retirement party, and he came to the Toronto East Detention Center, and I guess the correctional officers had no problem bringing him in, and he came right to my cell and got in my face. And there was an exchange that day, and I'll save it for another time. So, and then he retired. So it's very interesting. And why do I say this? Because I'm not going to get my phone right now. It's over there. I don't want to leave the camera here while I'm speaking, but I'll talk about it in the future. So what happened? I took a snapshot, if it's to be believed, in regards to his pay. So in 2019 is I believe when my matter was settled. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need the police. At the same time, Mark Saunders is getting very significant pay increases, and also a very significant pay increase in 2020, which is pandemic time. So why he's getting these big raises, I don't know. But I'm telling you, these people, they fabricate evidence because it's happened to me. So I've been to jail, and I've also been homeless. When I came back to Toronto on January 22nd of 2020, I came back to Toronto, and I went to Seton House. And from Seton House, I stayed there for like 45 days, 43 days. And then I got in a fight, and I moved to Bethlehem United Shelter on Caledonia. And from Caledonia, I went to the Edward Village Hotel, and then I got arrested. And when I got arrested, the police officer almost killed me, and then they took me to jail. And I sat in jail for 17 and a half months, and I had a lawyer for the first 4 months, a legal aid lawyer, and then I had no lawyer. So I'm a Canadian citizen, sitting in a Canadian jail for, I think, 13 and a half months. Okay? But I thought I had done the math. I thought it was quite a few days. So anyways, however many days that is, I want to say that again because it's very relevant. I sat in a Canadian jail for 13 and a half months without a lawyer. And before this, I had a lawyer. So the reason why I had no lawyer is because he made an application and the judge granted it. He never served me the application, and I never knew anything about it. I got brought to court, and they go, we're here to deal with this application. And the judge asked me, he goes, do you have a copy of it? And I said, no. And then he goes, I grant the application. So it just shows you how these judges are. They're just terrible. They're just terrible. And then I had no lawyer. So that's it for now. I gotta wrap this up because I'm gonna run out of time soon. But they say post a lot of videos when you first start up to try to get people seeing. So I guess I gotta keep on working at this. So I gotta come up with a good title here and keep on making more content. And if I get arrested again or if I'm dealt with, I'll just disappear. But in the meantime, I want to make this big. I got some ideas as far as what I have in mind. I would like to make a podcast eventually with a couple of friends, but the couple of friends are saying they don't want to be in. So I don't know what's going to happen. But for the time being, I wish you all well. I thank you for listening. And like I said, if you're not listening, why not? You should be listening because this is going to benefit us. I'm going to try. I'm not a coward. I'm not going to back down here. I'm going to try to see this through. And hopefully something good is going to come out of this. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you so much. And it'll probably be the only one for today. I'll take a break and do one a day. Perfect. Thank you. Bye.